Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of FM Station. Today, we'll be talking about Mirae Asset Multicap Fund, which has just completed 1 year since its launch. To discuss more on in detail on the fund, we have with us Mr. Ankit Jain. Hello, Ankit. Welcome to this call. Ankit is a senior fund manager at Mirae Asset Mutual Fund, and he is fund manager for Mirae Asset Multicap Fund. Along with this fund, he also manages Mirae Asset Large and Mid Cap Fund, formerly known as Mirae Asset Emerging Blue Chip Fund, Mirae Asset Great Consumer Fund, and Mirae Asset Mid Cap Fund. Uh, Welcome, Ankit. Thanks for joining in. Mirae Asset Multicap Fund has just completed 1 year. So, if you can explain more in detail on how the fund has maneuvered over this during this last 1 year, if you can elaborate more on that.
So thank you, Shrenik. If we look into clearly, last 1 year has been characterized by very strong earnings growth, continued resilience in domestic economy, coupled with significant improvement across different sector fundamentals, augurs very well for overall earnings, and which has led to also pretty satisfactory returns from the markets over last 1 year. We have been overweight during this time on healthcare, automobiles, which saw earnings upgrades, while other overweight sectors like consumer discretionary saw a bit of an earnings downgrades because of peak demand led by very high inflation. But overall market cap allocation all this while has been around large cap 40% plus minus 2%, mid cap around 26%, and small cap at around 30 odd percent.
Thank you, Ankit. What is the investment strategy of the fund? And also, if you can elaborate more on how do you determine on the overall market cap allocation while the regulatory limits are there that you need to invest a minimum of 25% each in large, mid, and small cap. So the remaining 25% allocation, how do you determine if you can elaborate more on that?
Sure. So if we look into, first of all, our stock selection is based on identifying high quality, robust businesses which are well run, preferably seeing long period of structural growth and acquiring such firm at the best possible margin of safety. The fund follows a buy and hold sort of an approach, GAR strategy growth at reasonable price. While multi-cap fund has relatively lower flexibility, but we may continue to maintain market cap allocation in a range. Large cap 40% plus minus 5, mid cap 30 plus minus 5, and small cap also similarly 30 plus minus 5. Given currently valuations of large caps are relatively more attractive, so maybe large cap proportion might be on the higher end of the spec.
Thanks, Ankit. How have been the earnings so far across sectors as well as across market capitalization? So if I can share some light there.
We look into first, let's say fiscal year 24 earnings growth has been very broad-based with very strong earnings growth of, let's say, around 22% in case of Nifty 50 large cap, 30% plus in case of mid cap 150, and small cap also has been around 20%. Clearly, if we look into continued strong momentum in financials, increased profits in telecom, and earnings upgrades across pharma and auto has aided to this particular profitability. This has also resulted in substantial valuation re-rating, particularly for the mid-cap segment of the market, which is now trading at a 50% premium to historical average. And also there has been almost 45% premium to that of large cap. So at this juncture, we do see more value in case of large cap segment.
Sure, Ankit. So what is the current positioning of the fund while you talked about the earnings and valuations? And in that context, if you can elaborate more on which are the sectors you are being overweight and which are the sectors you are being underweight within the fund?
Yeah. If we look into, we continue to remain positive on consumer discretionary, healthcare, and financials. In addition, if we look into, we are overweight in basically real estate, logistics, as well as the telecom sector. We are underweight on utilities and capital goods because we believe that valuations are quite expensive out there. The fund does maintain reasonable sort of a risk, reasonable overweight and underweight position. At an stock specific level, but at a sector level, generally try to make a good balance out there to build a diversified portfolio. The alpha generation is primarily sought through the active stock selection.
Thanks, Ankit. Lastly, how should one approach investing into this fund if you can shed some light there?
Yeah, so we look into first of all, multi-cap fund provides pretty well-balanced allocation across market cap and sectors at actually all point in time. While large cap allocation acts as an anchor to provide portfolio stability at relatively attractive valuation, opportunities in the mid and small cap bucket to provide overall earnings delta to the portfolio. Therefore, if we look into investors who have the risk appetite to invest in equities and who want adequate exposure to all market cap segment through a single portfolio, may consider investing in this fund with a time horizon of 3 to 5 years and more.
Thank you, Ankit. Session was really insightful. So, markets, particularly over the last 1 year, have been very encouraging. We have seen participation across broader markets, across market caps and sectors. But we believe that this fund is an ideal investment avenue for investors who are particularly looking for a single window to participate across market caps and sectors. Thank you, Ankit.
Thank you, Shrenik. Yeah.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.